This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
More than 1 million Iraqis abroad have begun voting in the parliamentary elections. Iraqis have 3 days to head to election centers located in 16 Arab and foreign countries. In Syria and Jordan, more than 40 election centers were set up throughout the two countries, including in Damascus and Amman. While voting in Iraq's parliamentary elections started today for those living abroad, voting in Iraq will start on Sunday.
إشارة البدء في الانتخابات التشريعية العراقية انطلقت اليوم إذن من خارج حدود العراق.
Hope is mixed in with fear because Iraqis are worried that the elections will be accompanied by an increase of terrorist attacks meant to derail the political process, similar to the events witnessed yesterday.
بالمخاوف من اشتداد الهجمات الإرهابية خلال هذه الأيام لعرقلة العملية الانتخابية.
We leave you with Abdul Qadir Fayez.
شهد عليه يوم أمس عبد القادر فايز.
In Iraq, elections are mixed in with bloodshed. More than 800,000 people have already voted during the special election, including security forces, police, medical employees, the infirm, and prisoners. The deployment of 100,000 soldiers did not stop the violence. Suicide bombers targeted election centers in Al-Khuriya and Al-Mansur in Baghdad. Dozens of people were killed and injured on the first day of the elections. Iraqis, however, are determined to fight back by casting their votes.
We will vote for Iraq. We reject terrorism.
According to news reports from Iraq, the voting turnout exceeded expectations. The diverse Iraqi people are hoping that the elections will offer solutions to the many problems they face.
It is not important if we vote for this person or that one. We want candidates who will reconstruct and serve the country. We want someone to start a new era of progress in Iraq.
Today we participated in the 2010 parliamentary elections. I hope that the new government voted in by the people will pay attention to security-related issues.
The elections will end next Sunday. 19 million Iraqis will vote, and the initial results will be announced on March 18th. The final results will be announced at the end of March.
I'm happy today because I can vote for the person I want to have as my representative.
The great number of competing candidates running in the elections reflects yet another concern, in addition to those related to forgery and the exclusion of some candidates. Because of that number, it will be hard to come up with one clear winner, which means that the formation of the new government will be a difficult task. If it is formed, then it will be a success. But if it's derailed, no one knows what Iraq's future will hold.
How are college students in Iraq dealing with the political events, especially when the country is witnessing heated competition between various political entities running in the elections? Our colleague Khubair Hussein visited Al-Muntasiriya University and brought us the following report.
PhD student Jawad is about to finish this semester and is turning his focus to the election campaign of the political entity that he belongs to. The absence of the Iraqi regime since 2003 has given religious entities a chance to reach university campuses in an attempt to gain the student support.
Political activities have increased on university campuses. This, however, does not reflect only one thing. It reflects the political change inside the university. The National Congress represented on university campuses holds many different entities and is joined by both students and professors.
الجامعة المستنصرية ظهرت فيها حالات التحزب والانقسام الطائفي.
Al-Mustansiriya University has more noticeable partisanship and sectarian divisions than other Iraqi schools. Members of the student association here were accused of affiliating themselves with militias and armed groups and placing pressure on the freedoms of the students. They were also accused of interfering in the administration of the school and of assaulting professors. The Iraqi government was forced to close down the association several months ago.
The Department of Professors, unfortunately, is itself dependent on the association. I don't mean any specific professor, but sometimes the leadership of the university handed these matters over to these people.
After what was described as political anarchy caused by the student association, college students stopped participating in political events. There are various reasons for that, topped by accusations of some politicians causing sedition and crises among the Iraqi public. In addition, the living conditions endured by the Iraqis have a negative influence on the opinions of students outside the campus.
The students who attend our night classes are exhausted. When they're done with their classes, they just want to go home. They have no interest in politics. It was better before. Students used to be more interested in politics.
The students don't care about the political situation. We just care about our studies and having some fun.
Besides the students' lack of interest in the political process, the education level in universities has dropped because hundreds of education experts immigrated to other countries. This was the result of the sectarian violence that spread in the country in early 2006 and what was described as organised purging and assassinations against a number of professors and scientists. Militias sponsored by foreign countries were accused of these operations. From Baghdad, Hubar Hussein, BBC.
British Prime Minister Gordon Brown reiterated that Britain's decision to join the US in the Iraq War without the approval of the UN was the right one. Brown indicated that there will be future interventions similar to the one that took place in Iraq. He promised to work on strengthening international cooperation in these interventions.
The incumbent British Prime Minister participated in the entire decision-making process before Britain joined the Iraq War in 2003. He served as the Minister of Treasury in the government of the Labour Party that was led by Tony Blair, the first person responsible for making the decision. In today's political event in front of the Chilcot Committee of Inquiry into the UK's participation in the war, Gordon insisted on maintaining his position.
Make a decision to go to war.
This is the greatest decision of all, to make a decision to go to war. I think it was the right decision and made for the right reasons, because the international community had demanded Saddam Hussein for years to abide by international law and fulfill the international obligations that he signed up for. In the end, it was impossible to persuade him to abide by international law.
Despite his belief in having made the right decision in joining the invasion of Iraq, Brown admitted the failure to carry out the basic mission promised to Iraqis and Arabs by the U.S. and its major partner in the war, the U.K.
So we won the battle militarily within 7 days, but we've had 7 years, and we have yet to win the battle for peace in Iraq. I believe that we will develop a concept for a just peace and the means to administrate similar conflicts in the future, including ways in which the Iraqi people can rebuild Iraq.
British politicians have talked a lot about the lessons learned from the Iraq War, and these lessons were one of the reasons why Brown himself decided to form an inquiry committee. The British Prime Minister is anticipating the committee's final resolution, which is scheduled to be issued right before the end of the year, hoping that it will reveal that he learned one of these lessons and admitted that the war did not gain full international support.
There will be interventions in the future.
There will be interventions in the future. There should be much more international cooperation than before. The global problems need better international organizations. Within this framework, I will stress the importance of strengthening the relations between Europe and America that are determined to build up.
Brown was scheduled to give his testimony after the general elections, which are expected to take place in May. But the pressure from the opposition compelled him to move the testimony date to take place before the elections. The opposition hopes that using the Iraq War will help it gain popularity. Brown hopes to convince the constituents of the ruling party of its position in regards to what happened in Iraq and reduce the opposition's influence. Amir Sultan, BBC.
Would you like to talk about Iraq's regional relations and your visit to Saudi Arabia? Why did you visit Saudi Arabia at this particular time?
I will tell you why. I visited Saudi Arabia for the same reason that compelled my Lebanese brothers to visit Saudi Arabia before and after their elections. The reasons were to maintain Lebanon's stability and unity.
What can Saudi Arabia provide?
You mean for Iraq?
I know that most al-Qaeda members who were arrested in Iraq came from Saudi Arabia.
أنا كنت أحل هذه المشكلة بالتليفون مع الملك عبد الله خادم الحرمين من كان ولي عهد.
I used to solve such problems with a phone call to Saudi King Abdullah, even when he was the crown prince. I used to tell him that we have terrorists entering Iraq from Saudi Arabia. We used to call on our brothers in Saudi Arabia.
سنة 1993 راح وفد مكون من 30.
Let me tell you something. In 1993, 30 Iraqi opposition leaders went to Saudi Arabia, including Mr. Bahar al-Ulum, Masoud al-Barzani, and President Jalal Talabani, the late Hassan al-Naqib, and Mr. Abu Ammar.
أعتقد سيد أبو عمار.
I did not go, but they went to Saudi Arabia and met with King Fahd. May God have mercy on his soul. The king told them to establish a national government in the Kurdish region of Iraq, and that Saudi Arabia will be the first country to support them.
إذا تروح للسعودية تلقي معارضة عراقية موجودة. هذا يوم حزب دعوة الجعفري.
When I used to go to Saudi Arabia, I used to notice the presence of the Iraqi opposition, such as the Dawah Party, of al-Jafari, al-Hakim, and so on. He used to visit the kingdom to check on the conditions of the Iraqis there and to perform the pilgrimage. I did not live in Saudi Arabia, but I used to go there to visit some friends of mine. In 1993, Saudi Arabia supported the Iraqi opposition, and they still receive the national Iraqi opposition, not only Iyad Allawi, but others as well. I know some important Iraqi leaders who went to Saudi Arabia and met with Saudi officials, such as Talabani. You also know that Saudi Arabia played a role in the stability of Lebanon during its latest elections, which was achieved in coordination with our brothers in Syria and with the approval of other countries in the region. Human lives are precious, and God Almighty commanded us to protect people's lives. I met with President Bashar al-Assad and met with King Abdullah II, the Saudi king.
What did you talk about in Saudi Arabia? Was the head of the Saudi intelligence present?
Let me explain it to you. First of all, if I did not want this visit to be publicized, I would not have allowed pictures to be taken.
Perhaps you were trying to raise Sunni support for yourself.
Not at all. The Sunnis and the Shiites know. Also, we know who manipulates Shiite and Sunni groups. They are the religious extremists who want to politicize religion regardless of whether they are Sunnis or Shiites. This has already been established. Listen, it is clear about 20 people were at the meeting. The king's brothers were present, including Brother Mukren. At the time, he had just come back from a trip abroad. The special place in which we met was the home of the king, a private farm. I had 3 other guys in my Iraqi delegation. We had clear and frank conversations pertaining to important matters.
Clashes erupted between Palestinians and the Israeli army at al-Aqsa Mosque compound. Violent clashes also took place outside al-Aqsa Mosque between Palestinian young men and occupation forces that entered through all the gates and raided the mosque. Our reporter Shireen Abu Akleh followed the clashes before calm was restored in and around al-Aqsa Mosque.
Calm did not last very long at the Aqsa Mosque compound. Soon after Friday prayers ended, violent clashes erupted at al-Aqsa Mosque compound. A large number of Israeli police officers raided the area and fired tear gas and rubber bullets at the worshippers.
The Israeli police planned today's events. This has to be linked to what happened last week when groups of settlers were allowed to enter the Holy Aqsa Mosque. Also, the loudspeakers in the Al-Aqsa Mosque were cut off. Today, immediately after the prayers ended, we were surprised by the rubber bullets and the tear gas that were being fired. As worshippers started getting injured, it was natural for them to react.
I will sacrifice myself for the messenger of God. There is only one God.
Dozens of people were injured, including women, journalists, and elderly. Israeli police said that 15 of its officers were injured by stones. Ambulances were prevented from reaching the Aqsa Mosque to transport the injured.
It was difficult to transport the injured because the ambulances were prevented from entering through the Lion's Gate. As a result, the paramedics were exhausted because they had to physically transport the injured on stretchers for a long distance.
The Israeli police narrative is different. They claim that the Palestinians started by throwing rocks at the officers situated near the Moroccan quarter gate.
Israeli Arabs started rioting
near the Moroccan quarter gate. The police officers were stationed near the Moroccan quarter gate where people were praying. We responded by using very little force. We only used tear gas to disperse the rioters.
When clashes erupted, occupation forces closed the gates of al-Aqsa Mosque. As calm was restored and occupation forces withdrew from the area, clashes erupted in surrounding areas such as Bab Huta, Al-Amud, and Essawiya village. Israeli police arrested 3 Palestinians. Hebron is also a hot spot. After Friday prayers, angry demonstrations started in the city as part of the continuous protests against the additions of the Ibrahimi Mosque to the list of Jewish heritage sites. While diplomatic efforts are being exerted in the area, Israel continues its plans in Jerusalem and holy places. These plans cause tension and increase public anger, but they are not expected to influence the official Arab position to resume talks with Israel, though one can predict the results in advance. Shireen Abu Akleh, Al Jazeera, Occupy Jerusalem.
Assistant Secretary General of the National Democratic Party and Policy Secretary, Jamal Mubarak, met with university students as part of the Sharak Youth Program. The meeting, which was attended by the Minister of Housing, Utilities and Urban Development, Ahmad al-Maghrabi, focused on the importance of youth participation in the political process, as well as on their essential role in society.
The third meeting of the Sharak Youth Program was held today in the Egyptian city of al-Aqsa. During the meeting, a discussion took place between Assistant Secretary General of the National Democratic Party and Policy Secretary Jamal Mubarak and university students. Mubarak stressed the importance of youth participation in the political process.
There is no political group or party that can draft policies for the future, policies that receive the unanimous support of the public, unless this party connects with the people in question and holds debates and discussions with them. As we talk about the future, I must be honest with you. There are serious serious challenges and problems facing our society in general and the youth in particular.
The questions raised by the youth reflected the level of their awareness, the extent of their participation in the political process, as well as their national role in society.
From my perspective, there are laws and measures that must be followed by the political blocs before they are allowed to run in the 2011 and 2017 presidential elections. Political blocs must secure at least 3% of the votes if they are to take part in the presidential elections. These are the facts, which some may disagree with, but what matters is having this information available. These are the facts and the outcome of the constitutional transformation that took place in Egypt in February 2005.
The problems facing the citizens don't require posting banners or billboards. However, they require serious discussions of development issues and ways to resolve them.
We are not trying to fool anyone. The Egyptian society is facing very serious problems. Many Egyptian families are living under harsh conditions. Why do you think we visit different villages every week? We are providing aid to needy families. Forget what is being published in the local newspapers about the percentage of poor families and so on. This is first-hand information based on repeated visits to some of the most remote villages in Egypt. Yes, we visited many villages. In fact, 1,000 villages are in dire need of aid. Yes, 1,000 villages. This figure is based on calculated and reliable data. It's the outcome of 4 years of hard work. The level of public services is also below the minimum required for sustainability. You may have heard of our program dubbed the 1,000 Village Program.
The Egyptian role in the region, both at the continental and Arab levels, as well as its historic and national connection to the Palestinian plight, were among the issues discussed by the Sharek Youth Forum. Since Egypt's 2005 constitutional amendments, the political process has become part of the social movement, with the bottom-up approach being frequently used in the decision-making process.
Dubai's police chief is certain that the Israeli Mossad killed Hamas commander al-Mabhouh. Israel is accused of forging passports from Europe and other countries. But is Israel acting alone? And did the CIA know of the Mossad's operation caught on tape in Dubai?
Answers to these questions and more on Link TV's Mosaic Intelligence Report.
Not much has been left to the imagination in the assassination of Hamas commander Mahmoud al-Mabhouh in Dubai on January 19.
Thank God I have very strong security. The Jews tried to assassinate me 3 times.
The entire operation has unfolded on closed-circuit television cameras in front of millions of viewers across the globe, just like an episode from a reality show. Pictures of the perpetrators, all 27 of them, have been plastered all over the web. Dubai Police Chief Dahi Khalfan Tamim has on more than one occasion declared to the media that he was all but 100% certain that the hit on al-Mabhouh had all the markings of the Mossad on it.
I challenge Israel to bring the suspects there in order to undergo a DNA test and compare them with the samples we have.
He said in an interview to the UAE-based Al-Khalij newspaper.
If it turns out that the results do not match, I will resign. You can lie about anything, but not about DNA.
The assassination of al-Mabhouh has thrown an unwanted spotlight on the workings of Mossad and its specially trained assassination team known as a Kidon, the Hebrew word for bayonet, something that the Israeli government had not bargained for when the approval to conduct such an operation came directly from the top, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Incidentally, it was also during Mr. Netanyahu's first term as Prime Minister in 1997 when a Kidon unit of the Mossad bungled the attempted assassination of Khalid Mish'al, the current leader of Hamas, in the streets of Amman in Jordan by injecting a mysterious poison into his ear.
Is this another secret Mossad operation?
I have nothing to say about this event in Dubai.
The use of forged European passports by Mossad agents entering Dubai to assassinate al-Mabhouh has kicked up a diplomatic storm in recent days. The EU issued a strong condemnation of the stolen IDs, indirectly criticizing Israel. Israeli ambassadors in Britain, Ireland, France, Australia and Germany have been called in to discuss the issue, and Israel's Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman has been given an earful by many of his counterparts. But were the Israeli dual nationals whose foreign passports were allegedly forged unaware that their identities were stolen by the Mossad? Or were they acting as sayanim, the Hebrew word for helpers, whom the Mossad relies on across the globe to provide shelter, money, and logistical support? In this case, identity. Also, why was not a single agent out of the 27 identified to be holders of foreign passport a U.S. passport holder? Israel has a large number of dual national Jewish Americans living in the country, many of whom serve in the Israeli military and various government-related jobs. Was this deliberate so as not to draw the wrath of the United States? Or was it simply that this operation was coordinated with the CIA? The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and numerous foreign press outlets have reported that 2 men linked to the assassination of al-Mabhouh entered the United States on specific dates after the killing. According to Dubai's chief of police, the MasterCards used by some of the assassins were branded by US-based Metabank, but issued by another small company called Payoneer. The company specializes in prepaid debit cards that can be used as credit card alternatives for online shoppers. Payoneer, which is registered in the US, has most of its employees based in Petah Tikva, Israel, and is headed by Yuval Tal, who in a 2006 Fox News interview was identified as a former member of the Israeli Special Forces. Is there a relationship between Mr. Tal and the Mossad? Many of these questions can be easily answered by the US government, but then again, the term Sayan has a much broader meaning when it comes to Israel and the United States. I'm Jamal Dajani for the Mosaic Intelligence Report.
To learn more about this program or to share your thoughts, visit us at linktv.org/me. Stay up to date on the Middle East. Follow Jamal at twitter.com/Jamal Dajani.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/Mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs which connect you to the world.